Welcome to the Heart of Giving. This is a season when we should all be thankful for so many things, and we are thankful for the people in our community that give of their time and their efforts. Today we have a segment for the Mental Health America of Los Angeles. Now, that's a little long for something that has been going on for 25 years, and it's had different names. So I've asked our wonderful panel to be sure and tell us what it's been in the past and what it does for our community. Dr. Dave Pilon, the President and CEO, and Paul Perry, who's the Executive Director of The Village. And this is such an extensive program, and we're so glad to have you, especially you've been part of this since the very beginning. And please tell us how it started,
Sure.
what it's been in the past, and then what happens and what you do. Oh, you can talk too, so, okay. Okay.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us, Beverly.
Yes.
It's really a pleasure to be here and
Thank
to
you.
sort of share what we're trying to do for the city of Long Beach and for people throughout LA County, actually. Our organization, Mental Health America of Los Angeles, has actually been around since 1924, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So we are actually celebrating our 90th anniversary this year.
But you didn't have that name at the beginning.
No, that's true.
Okay.
Our name at the beginning was the Mental Health Association
Okay.
of Los Angeles County. So we actually are.
But it was in Long Beach.
That's right. And we've been in the Los Angeles County area since 1924. And we're one chapter of an organization that's actually nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
Our National Mental Health Association has been around since 1909.
Mm-hmm.
But in Long Beach, we actually started providing services in the 1960s when volunteers on our behalf would go out to people with mental illness in board and cares and actually try to bring them services actually in their homes and sort of like try to keep them from being as isolated as they were in the board and care homes. Mm-hmm. But we really started a lot of services in the 1980s when we started providing services to the homeless on the streets of Long Beach.
And talk about the services. What services are you doing?
So at that time, we started doing outreach and providing meals to people who were actually homeless on the streets, trying to give them also basic mental health services. But in the 1980s, the state of California put out a request because they weren't happy with the way that services were being provided across the state. And they said, we want to try to find a better way to produce mental health services. And they created a task force. Governor Leo McCarthy at the time brought in a host of people to say, what are the kinds of services that should be offered to people with severe and persistent mental illnesses? Mm-hmm. They went around the country, came back and said, we want to create a program that we're calling it the Integrated Service Agency, and they asked for proposals across the state. And we were lucky enough to win the urban proposal and to locate it here in Long Beach. And we opened our doors. That was in 1989.
And
it was called the Village ISA at that time. We opened our doors on July 1st, 1990. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember when you started. But say the name of it again.
At the time, it was the Village Integrated Service Agency, VISA. So people were saying we were the Visa card for mental health.
And VISA means what?
Just the acronym for Village Integrated Service Agency.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
So it was called that until when?
Until probably about 6 years later, when the state gave us over to the county at that point, and our funding shifted from the state of Department of Mental Health to the LA County Department of Mental Health, and then they started calling us just the MHA Village.
I see.
Yeah.
And being as you're the executive director of the Village, what is the Village?
Well, it's been a game changer in mental health in the state of California and quite honestly in the country. Traditionally, mental health has focused on the illness and the symptoms, the diagnosis, the medications, the side effects of the medications. And what the Village has done is to focus on an individual's strengths, to focus on helping them find meaningful roles, helping them realize self-responsibility. Our focus is on trying to help people become what they might be rather than focus on what they have been. And we do address the illness. We do take it very seriously. But addressing the illness is just the starting place. What happens after that is really what matters. So the Village helps folks figure out maybe how to be a worker, go back to work, maybe for the first time, and maybe go back to work after years being away. It helps them become a student. It helps them reconnect with their families and learn how to be a better father or mother or son or daughter. It helps them deal with their financial management, so they're not always as broke as they otherwise would be. It helps them deal with substance abuse if that's an issue. It helps them meet a spiritual need, for example. So we might help them connect to a church or a synagogue or a mosque. These are all called quality of life goals. But these quality of life goals I've just talked about as examples aren't quality of life goals for people with mental illness. They're quality of life goals for anybody.
Of course.
And that's what makes the village special.
And how do you do it?
What we do is we focus on providing the services through a team approach, not just an individual one-on-one relationship, but a team provides the attention that people need. It identifies not only what's wrong, but what goals they have for the future, what they'd like to do with their life. And then the attention goes towards those goals. Again, we have to address the illness, but we also focus on what supports they would need to achieve those goals.
And you do.
So I was just going to add that the first question we generally ask somebody when they come to the village is, what would you be doing with your life if you didn't have the mental illness keeping you from doing it? And people will say, well, I want to go back to school, or I want to I want to go to work, or I want to move out of that board and care and live in my own apartment. And the basic service that we offer, as Paul was just saying, is this care coordination. A lot of people, when you have a severe and persistent mental illness, you often wind up homeless, for example. And the experience of homelessness is like the experience of being exiled. Now, nobody actually exiles homeless people out into the community kind of thing, but that's how they oftentimes experience. And so the village offers a welcoming environment where people can sort of like put their life back together, maybe get some medication for those voices that they've been hearing, and that allows them in some cases to say, oh, now that I'm not experiencing the symptoms so acutely, I can actually focus on work, or I can focus on reaching out to my family, or I can focus on going back to school.
And do you do this with meetings at the village, or do they live there, or are they, how?
Our folks live throughout the community. It's very individualized because everybody has individual strengths and they have individual goals. Let me give you a story about how this might work. There was an individual, a man who'd been homeless for 20 years.
Oh my.
He had no contact with his family. He was living in Lincoln Park and in the 14th Street Park and in the alleys of Long Beach. His symptoms of the mental illness were very bad, and he spent most of the time talking to himself. He was belligerent and demanding, often cussing people out, angry. And we heard about this individual, and we went out to what they say is outreach to make a connection. It took a lot of visits and a lot of connections in order to build a relationship.
Before he trust you.
That's right, and that's not to be underestimated how long that takes. But over time, we were able to say things like, geez, it's cold outside here. How'd you like to come in? And we showed him a number of places, and after a period of time, he was willing to try one of these places. What's interesting about this is he was able to move in. We got the apartment set up. It was in an apartment building. And when we came back to see him a few days later, it turned out he really didn't go to that apartment. He went to the apartment building and slept outside in the yard. So we worked with him more to get him in the room, and we had tables and chairs, and we had a bed that was really perfectly made for him to sleep in. And we got him into the apartment, and we went back after a week or so to see how he was doing, and he was doing fine. And we noticed how well he must make a bed, because it's perfectly made just the way we left it. And then we realized he never slept in it. He just slept on the floor. That takes time to make those changes. And in time, he started to manage his money better. He used to always get his money at the beginning of the month, but it was gone the first week. Now with some financial assistance, in terms of guidance about financial management, his money lasted the month. He liked that he was inside. He liked that his money lasted the month. he reconnected with his family. He participated in a 5K not too long ago.
Oh my.
And recently, he went to his first movie in 25 years. Now, what's interesting is he fell asleep in the first 20 minutes. But nevertheless, he went. And we're helping him to host his first Thanksgiving for friends.
Oh, wonderful. Now, how do people find you?
So
Or do you get referrals?
we get a lot of referrals. We are, as I mentioned earlier, we're funded by the LA County Department of Mental Health. And so sometimes people just walk in and say, can I make use of the services? In our basement at the Village, we have our homeless assistance program, and we do a lot of street outreach through that program. And people, whether they have a mental illness or not, if they're homeless, they can come there, and then we can evaluate them for mental health services. But we get a lot of referrals from the streets, from the LA County Department of Mental Health, folks who have had long hospitalizations who actually need a lot of services. Because the kind of services that Paul is talking about are very extensive, and they're really only appropriate for people with the most severe mental illnesses.
Well, you don't just take people that are referred to you. That you find these people too,
That's right.
and you're really dealing with a lot of homeless.
Yes, we are. And so the folks that we're dealing with have had extensive histories of homelessness or hospitalization. Now, the fact is that everybody experiences, mental health challenges. It's like our expression is that there's a lot of data that suggests that within our lifetimes, 1 out of 4 people will experience a mental health challenge of some sort. And the Village isn't necessarily set up for all of those folks who have sort of like lesser mental health challenges. We're really set up for the folks with the most severe and persistent mental illnesses. But we do a lot of advocacy and education. We offer a program called Mental Health First Aid, which is for lay people throughout the community
wonderful.
to help them to understand that better.
Well, and I can remember you have a good cafeteria.
We do. We have a couple of, they call them social enterprises.
That's great. And the people that you're working with in your classes and in your efforts are actually working there.
That's right. Almost the entire staff consists of people who are in recovery from some severe mental illness. And we have Deli 456 that you've been a customer of.
Yes.
We have the Village Cookie Shop. And
I'm going to have to stop you.
Okay.
Just because this goes so fast.
Sure.
And
It
here you're
did.
right in
Wow.
the middle of a sentence.
That's okay.
And we have to stop. But
Okay.
I've loved it that you're here, and I've been really proud of the things that have happened there, and how many people have been had received so much help. So
Well, we're grateful
thank
to
you
you
very
for
much.
the
Thank
support
you.
you've given us over the years,
Thanks,
Beverly.
Thank you.
Beverly. Good to
Nice to
see
see
you again.
both of you
Thank you
again.
so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that good? Thank you very much. We'll see you again. Welcome back. We have very interesting foundations in the city of Long Beach. Today we have a very special foundation, not necessarily made up of people that volunteer their time, but these people do volunteer their time, but they're professionals that are helping an element of our society that is needy and really needs the type of expertise they have. And that's the Long Beach Bar Foundation. And today we have Carolyn Bell, who's the executive director, and Leonard Metzik, who is an attorney and one of their board members. And it's very interesting, Carolyn, all of the things that I've heard throughout the years. I think I first heard the word shortstop.
Right.
And so that was the first time I knew that there was an association made up of skilled professionals that were working to help our youth.
Right.
And so you tell us about it. What is the Long Beach Bar Foundation? What's it made up of?
We are a juvenile crime diversion program, and it's designed to help at-risk youth, and we service youth between the ages of 10 and 17. And the purpose is to divert them away from a life of delinquency. So it's a juvenile crime diversion and prevention program where we teach law-related education, and we help young people realize the consequences of the decisions that they're making
Now,
today.
are the young people that you work with, have they had a problem that's been brought to the court's attention? And that's
Right.
how you get them?
Yes.
And so that they really have a reason to talk with you,
Right.
and not just because of the knowledge, but because that they're really requested to.
Right. Well, most of the kids come to our program because they've been cited for something. It could range from petty theft to fighting to
Graffiti.
tagging, vandalism,
Okay.
to selling drugs or using
So they
drugs.
have appeared in the court.
It's a little bit different now. In 2012, they would go through a court process, and that's where they actually closed the juvenile traffic courts in 2012, where we had referees that would recommend a community-based organization through the courts. But in 2012, when they closed the juvenile traffic courts, the citations went to probation. So now, if a police officer were to cite someone, the citations go through probation, and then they're referred back to our program.
And your program is?
The Short Stop
Short Stop,
program, yes. And so when they come to our program, and if they complete the program, it satisfies the need for the citation. So
And
there's a motivation
Are the
for them
parents
to come.
involved with this too?
Yes, we require the parents to attend the program as well. And it's taught at the Long Beach Courthouse by attorneys. We have a few judges. We have principals of local schools, law enforcement. We have Coast Guards on board, and professionals that volunteer their time to help make a difference.
And how long is their study?
They attend 2, 3.5 intensive sessions at the Long Beach
wow.
Courthouse, and the parents, like I said, are required to attend as well.
So they attend
Two.
two 3-hour sessions,
Right,
and parents go with them.
right.
And in this, they are taught what it means to do a better job of their life.
To be incarcerated as well.
Yeah,
They
I
give
know.
them a taste of that, yeah.
That was the word, but
Right.
I'm coming to you in a minute, Leonard.
We walk them through the whole process of what it would be like if they were to actually enter into the system. So just to tell you a little bit more about it is
When
on
you
the
say
first
enter
day-
into the system, you mean do it again.
Yes, actually
Okay.
go through the court process.
Okay.
And then maybe be sentenced or be sent away or
Okay.
that whole process.
Ah.
So we walk them through that, and when they first get there, we take away their property. They're suited in a jumpsuit. They're given a number for the evening. They sit in the jury box. The parents sit in the audience. And the attorneys call on them and hot seat them is what we call it, where they actually go over the reasons that they've been referred to the program. They find out if there's been any behavior issues at home, any issues at school, and then
And
they
can,
learn.
Can parents talk at that too? Or is just the
Absolutely.
students?
The
Oh, okay.
attorneys will ask the parents, to confirm certain things and to elaborate. And so the young people are actually standing up in front of a crowd and their peers talking about what they've been referred to the program
Oh,
for.
wow.
They also get a taste of the holding cell. They go downstairs to the holding cell where they're inside the cage and the parents are in there as well. And we have volunteers that share their struggle as to what it was like for them when they were in the system and how they're making it
Wow.
in the world since they've been out.
That's wonderful. And Leonard, you've been part of it for years.
I have.
You're
I've
a
been-
board member.
Right,
You're a lawyer.
I am. Past president, and I'm an instructor as well. So
okay.
it's been a long haul, but I've seen a lot of progress. And really what this does is get the kids a taste of what it would be like if they decide on a life of crime, what it's going to be like when they are an accused in a courtroom. And this is sort of like a trial run. If you recall
wake-up call.
If
Yes.
you recall the old Scared Straight, this is the modern version with a lot more bells and whistles and a lot more to it. They not only get a taste of what it's like to be locked up for a little while, but they are held accountable to discuss the reasons they made the decisions they made and why they should do things differently. So it's interactive with the parents and the kids. They're given homework assignments. They're
Yes.
given a lot of work to do in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And most of the parents find there's a tremendous change in attitude at the end of the 2-week
Wow,
period.
I bet. It's a wake-up call.
Yes.
A real wake-up
Right.
call for the parents, too.
Oh, yeah.
So most of them have never been in a courtroom before. They don't know what it's like to be a juvenile defendant, let's say. And this gives them an opportunity to try it out, so to speak, so they can decide whether this is for them or not.
And did I read someplace where it's taken off their record if they go through this?
Correct.
Right.
That's what diversion means. It means if they complete it successfully, they're diverted outside of the system.
Kind of like your auto ticket you might get.
Kind of like
if
a
you
get
go
out
to-
of jail free card, maybe
Yes.
Yeah.
for one time only, and
Yeah.
they only get one opportunity. And these are minimal, low-level first offenders by and large that we want to get to. And we've
First
seen.
offenders.
You're right.
Yes, that's the goal, to get them on their first offense. The earlier we reach them, the better. And sometimes parents are concerned that it may be something really minor, but the goal is to teach young people that not to break the law on the smallest scale, because if you start with something small, it could eventually end up being something larger. So we try and get them on the first offense, and then help them to realize the importance of staying on the right side of the law, even when it's at a small scale.
Absolutely. Well, I bet parents learn more than they do
They
almost.
do. Parents learn a lot.
It's a group effort. It's a family effort.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
the parents have to participate. In fact, in the
Both parents?
well, at least one, sometimes two. We see a lot of problems with the situation where there is only one parent, unfortunately, but at least it's a parent that's there with the child
Yes.
and willing to go through the homework assignments. So they have their own assignments as well. That is, the parents do.
And how long has Shortstop been going on?
Wow.
20 years in
20
Long
years.
Beach.
Yes.
We brought it to Long Beach from Orange County. We borrowed their version back in the early 90s. Some members of the Long Beach Bar had the foresight to go down and look at it, and then we adopted it with the help of the LA County District Attorney's Office initially, and then the Bar Foundation took it over, and we have implemented it in Long Beach, and now our version is being copied by other jurisdictions in the area. So we've been around a long time.
And do they? I had a question that would just all of a sudden it just left me. But you've seen hundreds.
Thousands.
Hundreds,
Thousands.
thousands.
So like how many would be in a class?
So in a good year, there would be anywhere between 15 to 20 in a class, and we run 3 departments a night. So we
3
could,
classes.
We could do 45, 50
Three
kids.
3-hour classes?
Yes.
Wow.
It's once a week, and then they come back in 2 weeks. The 2-week interval being used to complete their homework assignments. So we've actually seen, because I practice criminal law and including juvenile law, we've seen a slight downtick
Do
a little
you
in
have a
juvenile
follow-up
defense.
so you know how
Oh, yes.
how these students have done? Do
We
you have
do.
a good
We have a
story
survey.
of somebody that you
Right.
remember that was tried for something and
Well, we do know that about 85% of the children that successfully complete the program do not come back into the system for at least 1 year. So there's a very low recidivism rate, and we have had a number of young men and women who have come back to us at events that we've held, say fundraising events, and they've spoken to our group, to the audience, and explained how Shortstop impacted their life and how they've now gone on to graduate from high school.
Right.
They're on their way to college,
Wow.
and they still remember it as being a life-changing event.
oh, that's marvelous.
So we've had a number of them.
Right. We just had a young girl that was ticketed for solicitation. And she went through the Shortstop program years ago. And she went on to college, and she's working at the Long Beach Airport, or Los Angeles Airport now. And she called the office and said, you know, I want to talk to the instructor that worked with me years ago.
Oh, my.
She really changed my life. And the thing that she thought was really unique is that the instructor saw beyond the cover. A lot of young people,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a cover,
It's
you
a
know, they're
bravado.
tough. And so she saw beyond that, and she actually visited her at the home
Oh, my.
and found out that there was a reason in her family that caused her to be out on the streets. And the information that she shared with her really made a difference. And this was the young lady that shared her testimony at our golf tournament this year, and there wasn't a dry
fundraiser.
eye
Oh,
Right.
in
Yeah.
the room at all.
Oh, isn't that
so it was
something?
very moving that she was able to pull her life together and credit some of that back to
and
to us.
how do you? Is there a monetary function? Does the foundation raise funds to?
Oh yes.
We do that. Carolyn is instrumental in
Oh, that's
that.
what you do, Carolyn.
Right.
Well, we apply for grants, and Carolyn has been successful in getting us grant approval on many levels. We seek donations from the community. We charge a nominal fee to the families who participate in the program if they can afford it. If not, we're willing to waive it.
Great.
But
That's wonderful.
it's a constant process of trying to raise money to pay for the minimal staff that we,
That's
paid staff
marvelous.
that we
Right.
have.
Well, I know you have another program that is more recent than Shortstop, and that's your anger management.
Oh, yes.
Is it juvenile?
Juvenile anger management. We call it JAM.
JAM.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we haven't got much more time, so tell me real quick, what is that?
So we noticed that a lot of young people that were coming through the program were angry. Angry at their parents, angry in general. And they
Life.
were acting out through fighting and maybe being
Uh-huh.
defiant in the home. And we thought
Or
that
maybe that's the way the home is.
and that's the way the home is. But one of the things we do is we try to teach young people that if you work within the family, you can create a healthier environment and for them to take a look at themselves. So we came up with a program called Juvenile Anger Management, and Boeing gave us a huge grant to initiate the
That's
program.
wonderful.
So we created this really Zen-like environment, and it's a group session, and the young people that are exhibiting anger learn how to identify their triggers, to find a way to manifest it in a positive way,
And to be calm.
to be calm.
Yeah.
We have yoga, and they track their anger issues,
Yeah.
and they learn that anger is okay, but that they have to find a positive way.
Oh, that's
to-
wonderful.
Right.
I think a lot of people jumping for
Yes.
adults.
Really? Well, the parents come to you, and the parents,
right?
it was designed for the kids, and the parents started saying,
Oh,
we
that's
want to stay
wonderful.
around. What can you offer?
There's so much to talk about.
There's
I'm so
so
sorry
much.
that we have to cut this off, but thank you very much for
You're
being
very
here. It's
welcome.
been an
Our pleasure.
eye
Thanks
opener,
for
and I
having
hope a
us.
lot of people recognize what a good job this is.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
And thank you very much for watching. And aren't these wonderful things that you're finding out? The city is filled with people that want to make it better and make it better for our youth. Thank you for watching.